like to think of the gates as the energies that contain archetypal codes that help heal, if you will, or help express the highest potential of the centers. So if we look at the G center as an example, and let's say you're struggling either with lovability because you have an open G, or you're struggling with self-acceptance because you have a defined G. Some of the entrance points to healing the story about I'm not lovable or nobody loves me for who I am are contained within the gates of the G center. And so we look at the gate 10 and we see that one of the pathways to healing lovability is learning to love yourself first instead of looking for it externally. The gate 7 says that we have to feel self-empowered as part of our healing journey to our own lovability. It's hard to love yourself when you don't feel powerful. The gate 1 says that part of what helps us heal our lovability is cultivating an identity that is relentlessly authentic. And so we have to explore the question, am I actually being true to myself as part of self-love, self-acceptance? The gate 13 says, you are in charge of the story you tell about your life. And so if your story includes lack of lovability or lack of self-acceptance, the very first place that you can start shifting that is start telling a better story. And sometimes that means forgiving. And that forgiveness is not so much about allowing somebody to do something bad to you, but it's about saying, okay, this thing happened, but I'm cutting my ties to this story because it doesn't define who I am anymore. The gate 25 says we can heal self-love and self-acceptance by recognizing and remembering that every single one of us, we're each here to fulfill a unique and vital and irreplaceable part of the cosmic plan. We have a higher purpose, and the more we can connect to that higher purpose, the more we can learn to love ourselves and accept ourselves. The gate 46 says, a pathway to self-love is oftentimes learning to reconnect with the body and the beauty of the body and learning to love the body as the vehicle for the soul. The gate 2 says part of self-love is learning to value yourself enough to let yourself be supported, and that through the process of being receptive to support and seeing the support that's out there, we often can heal our own sense of lovability and self-worth. And last but not least, and this is kind of my favorite one on the G Center, the gate 15 says, we learn to love ourselves better when we are compassionate and when we share. And I think it's really interesting, this is just a side note, there's a lot of research that shows that when you feel lost, depressed, struggling with your lovability, your self-worth, that actually going and doing something of service for others can shift that narrative. And it's actually one of the things we talk about when we look at the journey of transformation from disruption to liminality, that when people are in a cycle of what's called liminality, when they've gone through a disruptive experience, they are redefining their personal story, they're learning to identify with a new identity, a new story, but they feel still lost, they don't quite know where to go next, that actually one of the things we need when we're in that liminal cycle is service, and that being of service to others, finding something to go do for someone else, can actually shift our perspective on ourselves.